Nobody tells me about my collar. Happy Thursday, everyone. All right, let's get to some jokes. Barron Trump, who recently turned 18. Yeah. Will step into the political arena as a Florida delegate at the Republican convention. His dad's first order of advice, don't bang Stormy Daniels. Speaking of, today in court, Daniels was cross-examined by the defense. Her testimony was a lot like her movies. You know, gripping for a minute and a half, then you lose interest and click onto something else. Jennifer Pace of Indiana passed away in March, but still won her GOP primary election for the House of Representatives. It's amazing, since some women couldn't do that while alive. Illegal aliens in Denver have given a list of demands to their mayor. Their mayor? Asking for better food, medical care, shower access, and no verbal or physical abuse. Oh, sorry, that's not from illegal aliens. That's from my staff. 4 airline employees were busted for using their ability to bypass security to smuggle in millions of dollars worth of drugs. No wonder so many of my flight attendants seem like something's up their butt. President Biden claimed that inflation was 9% when he took office, when it was really 1.4%. In his defense, he doesn't know the difference. According to a new poll, almost 1/3 of Americans live in constant pain. Well, at least for 1 hour per day. Never fails. It never fails. A new study found 38% of Americans have never felt more uninspired at work than they do now. Many say it's because of their crappy boss. And finally, Wendy's is adding a mammoth 50-piece chicken nugget party pack to their menu. To order it, all customers have to say is, "Give me the Christie." Tough love. All right, let's do a monologue. The birds and the bees bring Bumble to its knees. I refer to the Bumble dating app, which launched a decade ago, described as the feminist version of Tinder. But maybe it should have been called Hinder, because that's what these feminists did to women trying to meet men. Bumble's big innovation was that only female users could make the first move to contact a potential match. That way, their inboxes weren't full of messages from losers or creeps. Or all of the above. But that was Bumble's brand. The women get to ask and the men don't. Until now. After 10 years, Bumble's waving the white flag and letting men initiate the conversation. Yep, turns out putting women in the driver's seat for dating apps was as bad as putting them in the driver's seat for driving.
Sexist would say.
Women saw what it's like for men on the dating market and found it too hard to do what men had to do for ages. Make the first move. So they ran away in horror like they were handed the bill for dinner. Wow. So the app finally gave in to the inevitable, allowing men to initiate conversations with women. Now women can add a question to their profiles for men to respond to. And for lesbian and non-binary users, there's directions to the closest Home Depot. Here's how Bumble describes this amazing innovation of letting men ask women out, which we used to call human nature. Our new feature, Opening Moves, lets women choose a question that's sent to all matches. Just choose your opening move, sit back, and let someone else do the work to get the good chat going. You know, in bars, we used to call that having a wingman. You know, the guy who's so awkward and embarrassing, he makes anyone look good. My wingman used to say, "Hey, Greg, I think you left your trophy for best quads in your helicopter." You know, Wingman was like Goose in Top Gun. As long as you make me look good, then I don't care if you die in the ocean. The app adds, quote, so if you're done with thinking of what to say, we get it. Opening moves means less agonizing over what to say and more getting to the good chats faster. See, it's not so easy, my little chickadees, having to think on your feet, be charming and witty. And we had to do it to your face after 6 shots of Jägermeister. But with Bumble, a woman can now put a question in her profile like, what's your dream vacation? Who's your favorite singer? Or who will feed all my cats when I die alone? Then any fella out there can talk. Because as you know, there's nothing us guys enjoy more than small talk for hours on end. But it gives men a chance who are physically repulsive to women but can still come up with a good line or two. So why is Bumble doing this after 10 long years? Well, their stock price has plummeted 86%, and the company just fired 1/3 of their employees. Turns out you can't get laid on Bumble, but you can get laid off. As it turns out, being expected to make the first move all the time isn't much fun, even on a laptop. Try it face-to-face in real life, in a bar with 6 of your friends watching and ready to bust your balls or ovaries the rest of the night because he or she turned you away like you were the elephant man with halitosis. I know. Suddenly, women got a taste of making that scary first move and the sting of rejection. Making the first move is the hardest thing you can do because you face rejection almost 9 out of 10 times. It's like when Kat applies for a credit card. But yet, we're expected to do it, and that's good because it builds muscles, the ones you don't see, the muscles of personality, humor, charm, charisma, what we call the axis of Gutfeld. I worry, however, that dating apps have caused those muscles to go slack. People online, they judge each other superficially on looks and wealth. So now even an average-looking guy misses out on training those other muscles that make him better than a dumb but handsome jock. Here are the attributes, the top 10% of men who get all the action on the apps. They're usually over 6 feet tall, wealthy, good-looking. No wonder everyone else with a Y chromosome says, why bother? Now that has happened to women on Bumble. Men only contact a small percentage of women, leaving out others because it's now based on looks. So only a few women get the most requests. Perhaps there should be a new dating app called The Rest of Us. Oh, thank you. An unattractive man, like, say, Randy Weingarten, could be the spokesman. But as men explore what it's like to be women in sports, dressing rooms, and beer commercials, women are learning what it's like to man up. And in both cases, the results aren't good for anyone. See, the internet can do a lot of amazing things, but it can't change human nature. And apps strip away what would have been helpful for both sexes. The women of Bumble have learned that today's gender fantasies have little impact on what makes relationships work or even how they begin. Social engineering can't change facts about human courtship. Men make the first move because they need to. Women don't. We're essentially hunters, and women wait and then discriminate. It's hard for them, but it's hard for us too. But you take that away and you're left with very lonely people on both sides, which leaves men with porn and women with cats. Let's welcome tonight's guest. Sorry, ladies, he's tying the knot, and this time it's not a noose. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. Despite her unusual last name, she's not an Uber driver. Financial analyst Heather Superbraga. He buys all his members-only jackets in the Husky section. Comedian Joe Mackey. And she'd live in your van and eat a meal from a can. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Cat Too. Jamie, I did not write this question.
Okay.
But I'm going to read it to you anyway. Jamie, your ex-wife dumped you, took your house, kids, and everything you owned, which left you lonely and depressed. Because of that, how much time did you spend on dating apps like Bumble? You must have done dating apps.
Yeah, that was a question / quick summary of my life. I did absolutely do dating apps, and that makes you feel bad as a guy when you hear those were the parameters. I don't like being the short thing. I'm not 6 feet tall, and I feel like that's also something you can't change about yourself.
No, they're immutable? Is that what it's called?
I don't know. But I get that all the time, though. Like, people will come up after shows sometimes, and I've actually gotten, you look taller on television.
Right.
Which is crazy. Like, maybe your TV's sitting up on something.
Yes.
You know? Maybe it's not me. But the first move thing, isn't funny that Bumble, that was their whole thing?
That was their brand.
And now they go, we're not going to do it. Like, that would be like Beyond Meat going, you know what? We're going to add a little bit of real meat. We think it's going to be better.
That's why they were called Bumble. It was the queen bee. They were in charge, but none of the little worker bees came.
Yeah, and I just think people don't realize how much easier they have it because of the apps. Because remember when we were younger and dating, we didn't have, like, you couldn't even send like a pic. No. You had to, you had to actually bring it over to her house.
Yes.
And now you're choosing the best possible penis picture. It's like your penis is having headshots done.
Yes.
Back then, you wouldn't even have a filter unless she was looking through a screen door, and it's like... And for the women, it's easier. They could just give you a thumbs down. Back then, they would have to actually look at it and give you a thumbs down. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't ghost people. You had to fake your own death.
I know, that's true. Oh my God, think about that. It was so hard, Heather, to lose someone before there were but now you can just ghost them online. But before you just had to I'm not answering the phone. You have to take a different route to work.
Yeah, instead of, like Jamie said, the picture, you have to deal with the real thing. I'm not sure how to follow up after that.
What's the business model here with Bumble? Did they make a mistake?
Right. I mean, these rules of engagement came because the stock price is tanking 80% from when they went public. User engagement is declining because people are getting married, and then hopefully they're deleting their profile, which would be the right thing to do. But it took 7 years to figure this out. Why not let any gender make the first move? At least it gives Jamie and Joe a shot now on the dating app.
Yeah.
No, I love them. I'm trying to help them out.
And Joe, you are a lesbian, so this works out really well for you. Isn't it weird, Joe, that no matter how you resist reality or biology, it always somehow returns?
Yeah, Greg, I just want to speak to some of the comments that have made previously. A number of women hit on me all the time. They come up and say that you're very attractive, Joe Mackey, and I say, I can tell that your eyes work. But I'll say this, it sounds, when they say that it's a feminist version of Tinder, I'm like, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Like, the best case scenario is that no women want to date you. But, I'm worried that, my success in the dating world has made me rusty when I hear about how all you losers are doing compared to me, So I had to work on some of my own pickup lines.
Oh, let me hear that.
Hi, Stormy Daniels. I'm a billionaire. This is a good one because it talks me up a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it makes the ladies a little insecure. Maybe they're a little needy after that. Maybe they're curious. They want to get to know you better. It's this one. It's you're almost as hot as the models I normally date.
That's good. That's good. No wonder you're a sex icon.
I don't use that label, but everyone else does.
Yeah. Kat, you met your husband on a dating app. Is that correct?
Yeah, I also met a lot of people who are not my husband.
I love your Greta Van Susteren impression there. Thank you. You're like a woman with a man's kind of perspective. Do you think that this is just what? It's true. She'll even admit it.
What are you talking about?
the fact that no matter what happens, the people gravitate towards the same choices. So if you look at a dating app, only like 10% of the men get all the women. And then on a women's whatever app, it's the same thing. It's like everybody else is kind of like bullied out. Not bullied, but pushed out.
Maybe, but I feel like far more often will you see an ugly troll of a man with a hot girl than in the reverse.
Yeah.
You know, I think
true.
that's by far. But I also just think in general, the messaging, it can go on forever. Like you can just message back and forth and you can have all these different conversations going and you never actually meet in person. And honestly, the guys with the best messages who have the best things to say are maybe not always the best at actually following through on some of the stuff that they say.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that happens in real life too and on dating apps.
You know, I always like to give advice to young men out there. Maybe get off those apps. You know, the best way to meet women is to go to places where you're doing something you're good at, right? You know what I'm saying? Whether, you know, it's a golf range, is that what you call it? A driving range.
You could just like walk around with putting your tweets on a projector.
Yes. No, I mean, it's easy. I mean, you go to where you can be your best self and then people can see you. For me, that's everywhere.
Wow.
It's tough. That's why I don't go out. They just come running at me. It's like I'm a magnet of some kind, a magnet for women. Is there a word for that?
A chick magnet, Greg?
Yes, thank you, Joe. Oh, that was a great segment. I don't know about you guys. I don't care about you guys.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.